Welcome back to We'll Talk Entertainment Podcast, and today, and I told y'all, I don't lie, we're gonna have a special guest. And I've known this dude even before the fame and fortune. I've known him, and he's still the same dude, man. He's still the same. I don't refer to him as the Chief Donutmaker. I refer to him as Preston, because if you know him and you've been around him, he's Preston first. Everything else, he's Preston. He's a dad, a family man, and everything else comes second. Nothing changes at all. He still comes out. When they say, when you hear that term, the people's champ, this is the people's champ.
The most electrifying man.
The most electrifying man in sports and car entertainment. If you smell
what the Dodge is cooking.
What Stellantis is cooking.
Right. Yes. Just Dodge.
Just Dodge. Yeah. Okay, just Dodge.
Yeah. And then you start to group them all together, and that's a whole different conversation. So
yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Don't take my car away. Delete me.
No, it'd be my car that you take it away. Don't take my car away.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Right.
All right.
Right.
But you can catch Preston online as the Chief Donutmaker official on IG.
If ain't a blue check, it's not me.
Yeah, and also make sure it's a blue check, because when things like this happen, when you get a little notoriety, they like to go out and start cloning accounts, and so just be very careful. There's a lot of scams going on out there, so just make sure it has that blue check. Where else can they find you? Because I know you have specific platforms now that you work with.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at the THE Preston Patterson. That's my official personal page, aside from everything car. That's family related, gym related, stuff like that. And then you got Exotic Car Blacklist, which is all my car content. And that's going to be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, not TikTok, because TikTok is the Preston Patterson. But I can't dance, so I'm not that popular on there, guys.
Hey, I got rocky legs. It's like, I can't.
Beard fits that.
Yeah. Maybe after a couple drinks, I get a little bit lighter on my feet, but nah, that ain't happening. But man, thank you for coming out. And just a couple more housekeeping. Check out Will Talk ENT, www.willtalkent.com. If you want to get featured on the podcast. I'm also on IG as Will Talk Entertainment. You can hit the link tree and get access to all my platforms that way. But man, it is great to have you out here on a Saturday. I know you got a lot. Beautiful Saturday.
Wind
by the
blowing,
water.
it's like
yeah.
75
Hey man, I tried to hook you up.
You did.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't bring you out here when it's like 95 degrees and
that's true.
With sweat.
No, we have been outside at 95 degrees with no shade at that meet. So
Which one was that?
Wait, you didn't go to that meet? There was a meet at a car dealership that we went to.
Was that the one in Salisbury?
That was in Fort Mill, South Carolina. We went to that. There was a car dealership that brought me out.
State Line.
They just didn't have any shade besides in the building, so we all gravitated to the building. Yeah, that was a first.
Atlanta was kind of hot too, though.
Atlanta wasn't worse than that. It wasn't. It truly wasn't.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's
Gave your ideal.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
Yeah, it was hot.
Well, I'm kind of glad I didn't make it. I'm sorry, man, but it sounds like you lost a couple pounds.
I mean, it was good networking.
Yeah.
I got to meet a lot of cool people, so it was pretty cool.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because
let me take these out so I can be more personal.
I'm glad you mentioned networking, because you're one of the best networkers I've seen in the car scene here in Metro Charlotte. Because when I first met you, that's how we connected before all of this. Is because your ability to be approachable, your ability to network and be such a down-to-earth person is how we ended up being friends. And the thing is, you're one of those people that when people meet you and get to know them, when they contact you, always hit them back eventually.
Eventually. Yeah, I do my best. It's a lot of notifications at this moment, but I try to get back to everybody. And I even say it in the DMs, right? When I talk to people.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm telling them, like, you know, hey, thank you for reaching out. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you, but I will get back to you. It's just, there's a lot of notifications to get to.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. But, man, because the way we met at the first Cars and Coffee Charlotte after COVID.
Yep.
And it was in a zoo.
Yeah,
it was
a zoo.
I had to have Prep hold my spot. You ever wonder? I had my Hellcat, and I had the only reason I got that spot is because Prep looked out for me. Prep and Tim.
Yep.
Tim looked out for me.
Yep.
And they held the spot for me because, you know, I felt like that day something special was going to happen. And that was a day that we met each other for the first time. We talked and, you know, chopped it up. And from that day on, we've been friends ever since. Not even friends, I say family. Because at this point, we're family.
Yeah,
you
literally.
know, once you're
we
around,
took a whole road trip.
trips, you know, and, you know, caffeine and octane. And that video is going to be dropping soon. I'm finally getting around to it. But, man, tell us what is, because for my audience and for people who are not may not be in the car scene, what is a chief donut maker? Well, what is a chief donut maker? And tell us what you had to go through, because what you had to go through to become chief donut maker was not simple.
No, it wasn't. It was a process, literally.
So
the process to become chief donut maker went like this. I'm gonna tell y'all how I went from point A to point B. So point A, I ordered a 22 Dodge Charger Hellcat, indigo blue, with that red interior, as you guys saw on my Instagram page. Or if you haven't, go check it out. And I kept going on the Dodge website because I was like, all right, when is this car coming? When is this car coming? And then one day I saw something on the Dodge website about a competition for a chief donut maker. I was like, I never win anything. Let me just throw my name in the hat. Worst case scenario, I'll be looked at, something like that. Like, I had zero expectation. So I was in Atlanta and I filmed a video. I was standing right there. I took my girl at the time she's still my girl. But I
was just like, what happened?
Yeah, I took my girl to Atlanta, and I was just like, hey, can you help me film this video, right? So she held the camera. There was literally no budget. She held my camera that I do my videos with for YouTube, and I shot a 2-minute video on why I should be chief donut maker, just being myself. So fast forward to today, that video placed me out of over 175,000 people. It placed me in the top 10 for videos created. I was reached out to by a company, an agency, to then go to Arizona, Radford Racing School, to shoot a video or shoot a webisode for Dodge's Chief Donut Maker, which is a webisode. I just call it a TV show because it's easier for people. They'd be like, what's a webisode? So we shot a TV show. I ended up winning out of 10 people that was there, the top 10 people out of 175,000. I ended up winning that position that day on the show. I had to keep it a secret until Hemi Day 426.
Right.
And then they made that big announcement. So fast forward to today, I traveled around the United States. I got a Hellcat that sits right there in the back. And it's cool, man. I get to network, I get to build relationships, and I get to meet all type of cool people.
And you're traveling all over the country doing this.
All over the country, yep.
Now, I know you're a humble dude, and you're being real humble right now. But when you say you're one out of 175,000, but that was just to get in the contest.
Yes, exactly.
In the contest, you had what, 3 other people?
No, 9 other people.
9 other people.
Me. Yeah.
So, and they're giving you all these different challenges, shooting commercials.
Yep.
They're testing you on your knowledge of the product.
Yep.
And you also literally have to show your driving skills on an autocross.
Yeah. And keep in mind, out of the knowledge part of the product, I was the only one throughout the whole thing. They got all the questions right.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like,
"That's crazy, right?"
I was just like, "Wait a minute, these old people call themselves Dodge." And,
it's crazy.
And that's a heck of a process. That is no small feat.
It was, and it was nerve-wracking. Every day I went home from there, because I was there for 3 days, and every day I went home. Went to the hotel room because I wasn't at home. But every day I went back to that hotel room. I was doing the same thing every night. I did the same ritual that first night.
Yep.
I got a burger and I had Jack and Coke. And I was like,
I'm gonna fall asleep.
I'm gonna fall asleep to this. And I did that so I could get some rest. I was like, all right, because I was nervous. And after that first day I went to the next round, I just kept the same thing up. This very next day I got a burger, got Jack and Coke. I'm like, you know what? If that worked 2 days in a row, I'm gonna do it again. Did it again, I ended up winning. And you know, I contributed to that. To be honest with you, that and my knowledge and my love for cars.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
So what was it like? What was it like with working with Bill Goldberg?
Yeah. So
I know that dude is intense.
Bill was super intense, but what you see on TV, that is Bill, but he is the nicest guy that you can meet, like legit.
Yeah.
Because when I first approached him, I was like, woo, bro, like I've been watching you since I was a kid, literally.
Right.
And I just didn't know if I could approach you. And he was like, well, why not? I'm just a regular guy like you. I'm like, well, Bill, you're not a regular guy, but
I'm not somebody that can suplex,
right?
The big show. Yeah.
And man, it was cool because he was like, yeah, you can approach me anytime. Like, I'm just like you are. And I'm like, I mean, really not, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
He was super, super nice, man. Super
that is
nice.
awesome. And I've heard that kind of talk circles around in the entertainment business. People who've met him say he's the coolest guy you'd ever meet in person.
He is.
And he looks it. And the other thing that Bill does, he does a lot of charity work behind the scenes.
He does.
A lot.
He is a huge contributor to the community. He loves doing things for kids. Like he literally is a big heart.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
And that's why people love him. They gravitate towards him.
Yep.
But man, so you get through, you come out, you win the contest.
Yep.
And what did Dodge explain to you what the Chief Donutmaker would be doing throughout the year? Did they give you like a blueprint to give you ahead of time, tell you what you're gonna be doing?
As far as going to events, they had a list of events that they wanted me to go to, and I mean, pretty much the job description was you get a kick-ass gig, and you get to travel around the United States. We're gonna give you a Hellcat, and you are the brand ambassador for Dodge. You are the top dog when it comes to talking about the products at events everywhere you go from here on out.
Right.
And I was like, sign me up. I've been doing this on YouTube. I've been talking to people on YouTube. I prepped myself right for something I didn't know was coming.
Your YouTube channel basically prepped you for what was to come.
Yep.
And this is why
you stay ready so you don't ever have to get ready.
Exactly. And if you go to his IG, and he's always, Preston, you're always posting stuff about taking advantage of the opportunities.
Absolutely.
Being in the moment.
Absolutely.
And he even taught me something, because I'm one of those people, I plan everything out from A to Z. And he's like, man, the best advice that you ever told me, especially now that I'm doing a podcast and doing YouTube, sometimes it's good to be spontaneous.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's how we met. It was actually spontaneous.
It was.
And you do your job based on what you tell people, and you actually walk the walk.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm a spontaneous person.
And
they don't tell me what I'll do, what I'll say.
And because a lot of
when
people,
I'm in front of the camera.
Yeah,
that's different. In the context there.
A lot of people see what you do and they think it's easy, man.
Oh man,
it's because one of the things that people don't realize is you're a father.
Yep.
And that's why I started this podcast out with your father first.
Yep.
That's your
over anything.
Over
anything. Like my career, like literally, my kids take precedent over anything that's going on in my life, and I will drop whatever I have at the drop of a dime to go make sure they're good.
Right.
Regardless, take care of your kids. Honestly.
I mean, that's really all that needs to be said.
Yeah. Be a father. Be a role model.
And be a role model. And man, you're one of the best role models that I know. Personally. And I'm not saying that because we're on film. I've said that to you outside of film.
Yeah, you have.
So,
Yep.
So, I'm being true to that. Yep. But man, how do you balance all this though? So you got
Good question.
Chief Donutmaker role, your father, which takes precedent, and then now you still work your regular gig.
I still work my regular job. My
wow.
They call it 8 to 5, but really
there's no such thing.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Like if you are doing what you're supposed to do at work, and if you are in a position to contribute on a higher level, there is no 8 to 5. Like you're at work pretty much as long as you want to be or as much as needed.
Right.
So the hard thing that I am still to this day trying to figure out is balance, because working my regular job and then being chief donut maker, like you can only be great at one thing, you can be good at two, and you can be okay at three. So I'm trying to make sure that I stay great at two things, which takes a lot of time. So it pulls away from something, right? And unfortunately, at the moment for me, it is being able to devote that extra time to my family and friends.
Right.
I don't have extra time, as you know, right?
Right.
You hear my schedule. I talk to you a lot.
Yeah.
I don't have free time, and so that's for a greater purpose. Like I make the bank deposits now into my life, so later in life I can withdraw that money out and live.
Well, you're not only making. About to start it. that's Rubik's. That's Rubik's underscore 3 right there.
Big 392 gang.
Big 392.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
I see you later.
He's got the family here, so he's got to,
He got to roll.
He's got to roll right now.
Family come
Family.
first.
This again. Family comes first.
Yep.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because one of the things I was wondering is like with everything that you got going on, is it travel? Because I used to travel a lot more for work than I did now.
Yep.
And as I've gotten older, I was like, I'm on closer to AARP. and as I've gotten older, I'm just like, I choose a career. I'm choosing career, making career choices where I'm not on the road as much.
Yep.
But you're on the road
at least once a month.
Once a month.
Minimum of once a month. And that's if we don't have an event to go to, like this or
in
Atlanta or something like that. So realistically, I travel, I'm going to say twice a month, once out of state, and then the next event hopefully will be in state.
Right.
So yeah, I'm on the road, and I just went to the beach, a couple weeks ago, and while I'm on the way to the beach, I'm like, man, I really don't want to go anywhere. Like I'd rather just be at home sitting, and it's because I'm always on the go. And so when I get that moment to relax, like I just try to take it. But this is a 1-year opportunity, so I'm gonna give it 100%.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't know what's gonna happen afterwards, and I rest when I'm dead.
Yeah.
So
well, the other thing too is you're also setting up your kids for success.
100%.
Because when they see you and your work ethic, it rubs off on them because that's how we know we have similar work ethics. And my work ethic came about from watching my dad and my mom grind.
So I just want the takeaway from each and every person that I honestly want them to have is like anything is possible. Like honestly, because if you look at where I came from and you look at where I am now, it's completely two different areas.
Give people a little small insight where you came from, because I know you've talked about that. You kind of touched on it without, of course,
Right. So my background, man, I came from like literally nothing. At one point in my life, growing up, we didn't even have power in the house. So I literally came from the very bottom. And if it wasn't for my mom passed away right after I graduated high school, and if it wasn't for me making her a promise that I would go to college, I'd have never went to college, and I probably would be caught up in the street somewhere. Right. So after I made that promise to her and went to college, like my life completely changed, my trajectory completely changed.
Right.
From what I was gonna do in life, and I played sports, I did all that, but it made me grind because it showed me what I didn't want to go back to. Right. Because I've seen the ugly, so now I want to see the good side of life.
Right.
And for me, I'm not saying that I'm living this great lavish life at the moment, but it is pretty damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you get a chance to wake up and do things that you love.
Oh yeah, and you get paid.
And you get paid for it. And be driving these monsters.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
I was doing this for free.
Yeah.
And now I get to do it for the biggest, best muscle car brand in the world.
Yeah, and that's fact.
That's crazy.
That's fact. And
that's crazy.
I know some Camaro owners looking up there.
It's crazy to think that it's me. Like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, holy crap! Like I'm actually in this role. Like still to this day, I feel that way. Like I'm that guy that they picked. It's still mind blowing, and I stay super humble about it because I'm a Christian and I grew up, and anything that is given to you can be taken away overnight
in a heartbeat.
So I never take it for granted, and I always try to help the next person out because I had an opportunity given to me, so I want to help everybody that can along the way.
And that's also so when you hear Preston say he travels once a month, that doesn't. He's around supporting us, supporting the local, YouTubers and helping us out. So it's really important that we return that favor and uplift you, and give and support you, because when you're in the public eye, it's not easy.
It's
I
not.
mean,
Everything
people-
is scrutinized.
Yeah,
Literally everything.
literally,
I
yeah.
posted a video on my personal page of giving my son sparkling water, and somebody in the comment section was like, "Oh, you trying to teach your kids to drink?" Like,
What?
bro, we're
It's
toasting
water.
sparkling water.
Yeah.
Like, where do you get this? Like, the internet is undefeated, bro. The internet is undefeated.
Man, and I don't try to fight with. I don't
either, because they won't say it to you in real life. Like, it's the internet. It's only they're gonna say it to you on the internet.
Keyboard warriors. is
Yeah,
what we
that's
call
that's literally what it is. And so
But-
I don't respond to any negativity.
Right.
And you can go through my page, you can see that anybody can. Like, if you're negative, I don't respond to you
Right.
because like you're not gonna build clout off of me. Sorry.
Yeah. And,
gonna happen.
and I hate to say it, but it's also part of the downside of being the chief donut and winning this contest is it's like I'm looking at the comments and I'm like, where the heck did all this come from? I'm like, no, he's a regular dude.
He wasn't there before the contest, right?
Yeah, it
I'm
wasn't there
telling you.
before. Yeah, he was bigging him up, pounding him.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
next thing
And
you
now
know,
you got
it's
anything to
just
say.
like,
Yep.
yeah, you turned into Whitey Bulger or something.
Right. I
It's like-
don't understand it. I think it's clout chasing.
Yeah, it is.
And
it is.
people like to attack things that they see themselves not being able to attain. Right. So for me, I look at it like this: if you don't have a hater somewhere out there, you're not doing something right.
Right.
Because the bigger you get, the more haters you're gonna have. And if I didn't want haters, I could go back to being a regular person. But I'm not afraid of that. I
Right.
grew up in a whole different environment. I welcome it. Tell me how you feel. But at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna get to what I need to make happen,
Right.
and I'm gonna support the people around me, and we're gonna all grow together. Either you can grow with me, or you just won't.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I'm open to help anybody I can.
Yeah, you heard it from the man himself. But man, it just seems like, even though it's been over, I would say about a year and a half since we met, it feels like we've known each other even longer than that, because so much has happened since then. Moving forward now, I'm gonna get into the controversy
Yep.
online, the last call.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on it?
On the last call.
Yeah, on the last V8s, Hemis going out the door. It's kind of sad to see them go, but at the same time, I understand that just like with humans, these things have to evolve.
Right.
They can't stay the same.
Right.
And then on the back end too, how long are they going to keep paying fines for the for emissions for a big old 6 liter plus V8?
Right. I think this. When you look at, for example, we went from carburetor to fuel injected, right? It was an issue. Everybody was like, "Oh, why would you do that?"
Yeah.
When you look at businesses that can't evolve with the time, they're left behind. When you look at individuals that can't evolve with the time, they're left behind. They have old school mindsets. You have to evolve with the world, and I'm not going to say unfortunately, but where we are with the world in general, I mean, we need regulations on emissions, right, to be able to save this world, to be able to continue to do things. So for me, I think the electrification of the car world, especially Dodge, is needed. And it's a new era. Everybody's not going to like it.
Right.
But eventually, you won't have a choice. Like, you can either buy your car now and hold on to it and call it a classic later, or you just won't have a gas-powered vehicle. Like, it's just the evolution of the world that we're in. And you have to accept it. I mean, and looking at the Banshee, I just happen to have my shirt on today. But looking at the Banshee, like, that car is premium. The interior is premium.
Yeah.
Like, the looks of it, to me, the sound of it. I know some people are not a fan of it, but I love the design of it.
I
think
love
it's
the
beautiful.
front of it because I think of the 68, 69 Charger.
Yes.
Which is the first Mopar that I ever saw. Because, as a kid, what did we watch? The Dukes of Hazzard. We saw the 69 Charger.
Yep.
Was that a 60? That was a 69. They went back and forth on that show.
They did.
Yeah, because because the 68, 69 a little different.
Yep.
68 had completely the grill. There was nothing in the middle. It was just complete grill all the way from end to end, and that's kind of what I think. That's what they inspired the Banshee.
That is what inspired it, actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, just kind of going back on that again, you know, government created that EPA regulation, right? And people were like, oh, Dodge sold out, but it's not Dodge selling out. It's Dodge following the government regulated regulations, if I can say it that way. So, yes, it's going to happen, guys. Like, y'all have to understand it's going to happen.
Right.
And, again, either you evolve or you get left behind. And Dodge ain't getting left behind. Let's just be real.
No.
So...
No.
Every automaker's gonna do it. I mean, if you look at, you got automakers that made V10s now that's making twin turbo V8s.
Right.
You don't have a choice. You're gonna meet that regulation, or you're gonna get fined and you're gonna go out of business.
Right.
Simple as that.
And I think a lot of it too, though, with the resistance from being around the car community here, I feel a lot of it is ego too, because a lot of people like to have cars where they say, well, this is unique.
Yeah.
And, you know, they like to open the hood and show off what they did to their cars, and
It's gonna be a lot harder.
it's gonna be a lot harder to do that with an EV.
At least that's what we think right now, right?
Right now.
Because it's new technology.
Right.
So we don't really know how to customize these cars just yet.
Right.
It'll come.
Yeah.
It'll come, you know.
Just like with everything else. It's
yeah.
just, you know, they'll eventually have some type of aftermarket, and it may just be a download, but it's still an aftermarket.
Which they do. So Dodge
Right.
has direct connection that's going to come for the Banshee as well, which is going to offer different horsepower packages. So there you go.
And you
now
can
how
just-
that works, I don't know,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't know that much about
Right.
electric cars to give you a breakdown on how it works. But
Right.
that's the first step.
Yeah. Well, you got to
it's
start
gonna come.
somewhere, and
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
like I said, you know, we're at a critical point now where, and you know, we're not trying to be political here. This is just survival.
It
where
is.
the human race is we're extincting. We're making ourselves extinct by the choices that we make, and I get it. And like, look,
We're looking at going to Mars, like, because of the planet. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I get like exploration and all that good stuff, but like, we looking at going to Mars because of what's happening on Earth.
yeah,
Let's fix where we're at, you know, not to go down that path again, but
What?
I love V8s. I love that sound. I love
Dude,
V8s, I love V10s, I love V12s. I mean, I
I'm a
love
kid.
4-cylinders. Like,
I was born in the 70s. My godfather lived next door to me, and he had a 1970 Buick LeSabre, had a 454. That was my alarm clock in the morning.
yep.
He start that bad boy up. Everything started rumbling and shaking. My
Yep.
dad had a 72 Catalina.
Yep.
So my love for these muscle cars,
Yep.
I grew up in it.
Yep.
So that's where
Yep.
you know, and I go,
Yep.
you know, I go back to the 70s and 60s. I caught the tail end of it. And so when these cars came out and I saw this, I was talking to Rubik's about it. I was just like, man, when they came out with these V8s, these big body V8s, you know I had to have one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I also, you know, full disclosure, you guys can go to my IG. I also have an M340i. I have a love for imports.
Yep. And which is
And-
that's okay though, right?
Yeah, there's nothing. It's not either or.
It's the love for cars. Like, obviously, you know, Dodge is gonna come first for me.
Right.
Right. And it always will.
As it
You know,
should.
from when I
Right.
had my Scat Pack,
Right.
from when I had my first Hellcat, to now having my second Hellcat. But it's okay to love other cars. Like,
Right.
it's okay to have a passion for cars in general. But you can have a number one. You can have a number two. You can have a number three.
Right.
Number
Right.
one for me is gonna be Dodge. That's just simply how it is. And
And
that's not even me being the ambassador.
That's just
when
being a
I bought
car.
my first one, and I was like,
Right.
oh crap, I like
Yeah.
this.
And that's the thing, and it's like, you know, we get caught up. Oh, JDM doesn't like American, and AMG guys they frown when I you know, I had a friend of mine. I told him, you know, he's asking what other car meets are going on. This is while we're at Cars and Coffee Charlotte, and I said, yeah, there's another, you know, car meet going on at this location, and there's, you know, you probably see a little bit more Mopars there, and you know, him being an AMG guy, he kind of frowned on it, and I'm just like, so what, man? Everybody has their, you know, their choice, their preference.
It's true.
And
That's true.
you know, as much money as people put into these cars, I'm sure if they had the opportunity or the choice, they would go buy an AMG or maybe they don't know anything about AMG.
Right.
Right? Because we all, at one point, we all knew nothing about these cars.
That's true. That's
So
true.
it's true. It's a learning process. Like my first Mopar, and a lot of people don't know this. I brought my first Mopar in 2018.
Which is
That's
okay.
a decade.
That's still okay.
Yeah, it's
right?
still okay.
Like,
But that's a decade after they came out.
Yep. What
But-
got me into Mopars is I drove a red eye back in like 28. I think it was 18 or 19. I drove a red eye, And that is what got me in the Mopar.
Right.
Like, I've never experienced the power of a Dodge until I got in that. And I told myself when I drove that car that I was gonna own a red eye, or a Hellcat, sorry.
Right.
And a year and a half later, I bought my first Hellcat. But that hitting the gas, not the back end going where it want to go to, you in the seat, you can't replicate that. You can't. That's a Dodge thing. And for me personally, I love that. It's an adrenaline rush each and every time. Every single time I hit the gas in my car, it's an adrenaline rush because it's like, let me hold on.
But so, just before as we were setting up out here, I asked my brother Tim over here to move my car and park it back there, and so I don't get to hear my car when I'm outside of it or watch it move. He started it up, and I hear that V8, that rumble. He came around the corner nice and slow. And parked it. I'm looking at that car as I'm parking it there. I was like, but that's how you know you got something that you love,
right?
That you appreciate, because when you see it, it's just like, damn, I made a good choice here. And that feeling is, you can't replicate that. Now, hopefully, we hope that when we get to drive the EVs, we get that same feeling.
Absolutely.
I
think with that transmission, like, we'll get that feeling. It'll be different, of course, but we'll still have that feeling.
I think so too. And the thing is, people pick and choose what they want to listen to.
For sure.
And I'm listening, and I'm listening to Tim Kuniskis, and he's saying, well, the Plaid is 300 volts, I think is what the Plaid has. But he said the Banshee had 800 volts. And I'm saying, okay, the Plaid is 300, Banshee's 800. I mean, that's to give you some little clue as to what's coming.
Right. And to be honest, I mean, it's not about, for me, Dodge don't, when you make these high horsepower cars, you're not aiming for fuel efficiency. You're aiming for, like, performance. Right. And so when they created the Hellcat, it was performance they were going after. When they're creating the Banshee, I don't think they're going for the most miles per watt or whatever it's called.
Wattage per mile or whatever that is.
They're going for power. They're going for a muscle car. They're going for that feeling to replicate it. So that's one thing that I really like about this brand. Like, they're trying to stay true to the roots. Right. Compared to other people you see that's making one gear, remote control cars.
Right. And there are no other brands that has an ambassador that's picking an ambassador out for the crowd.
And I'm not a corporate guy, right? So I speak my mind. Like, I'm an honest person. When I like something, I like it. When I don't, I just won't say anything about it. Right. But I'm honest. I'm not on that payroll to be a spokesperson, feeding the crowd information that Dodge is feeding me. Like, that's not it. Like, my job is to be me and to be honest. Right. And I enjoy that. Back when we were talking about the V8s, I was on the way here. There's a guy with a BMW beside me on the road. He modded out. He had every mod on it from the looks of it by aesthetically. I don't know what was under the hood. He rolled the window down, pulled his phone out. He was like, yo, a Hellcat, let me hear it. I'm like, bro, driving a BMW that's modded himself, but he still got a love for other cars, you know? It's just Dodge in general. Like, you can't replicate that.
And back to our earlier point, you don't need to have a lot of hate for imports or muscle. It's about what do you love. The best advice I ever heard came from when I went on a wine tour.
Was the wine good?
Oh, hell yeah!
Was it?
I had me a couple drinks that night. This was
Sound like you.
I can't.
Did you get wine drunk?
I don't remember, man.
Honestly, wine drunk. Yeah.
I don't remember. I went on a tour at Chateau Lawn over in Georgia.
That sounds fancy.
It was a birthday present, so it's like that. At that time, me, I'm simple. I was like, I just want to go out and get something to eat.
Fair.
And she surprised me with a wine tour.
Did they have food there?
Yeah, they had food there.
Okay.
And I was just like, look, she said it's the best advice I ever heard. The best wine that there is the wine that you like. Okay. He said, I don't care if it's a $5 bottle, I don't care if it's a $10 bottle. It's what speaks to you.
That's true.
The same goes for cars. Yeah. It doesn't have to be, I got to be an import guy, I got to be a muscle. Hey, go buy both. Tim putting his hands up. Yeah, because he already got his order in. I'm not gonna say what he's ordering, but we'll have. we'll have that discussion later.
I mean, I agree, like 100%. Like, just enjoy what you can afford, right? Because everything is relative to your situation. And people talk about how expensive these cars are, but it's relative to your situation. What's expensive to the next man may not be expensive to me. What's expensive to me may not be expensive to Jeff Bezos. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to look at it from like your point of view or your perspective. Like, what can you afford? Like, if you don't own a Dodge and you're trying to tell the chief donut maker what he should and should be doing, I mean,
yeah, I'll never understand that.
Yeah, I won't either.
It just makes no sense. And and the funny thing is, if they come up to you, they get to know you, you give me a ride, you put me behind the wheel of the Hellcat and experience it.
Because I don't mind, man. That's what sell, right?
Yeah.
You getting to experience that car is gonna sell that car to people. I don't have to talk about it. You drive it and it's like, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah, because we're at the point now that they don't. There's a reason why they don't let you test drive Hellcats.
Literally.
They literally. And they also stopped letting you test drive Scats now.
Did they?
Yes, you can't test drive the Scats anymore because
Well, you know what you're buying, right?
Right.
You know that you're going to buy a 700, 800 horsepower car from a dealership. Like, why you need a test drive that? You already know what it is.
You see the video,
so you can wreck it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. And with the scarcity of the product right now, I can't blame it. You
23 last year. Get your orders in.
Again, get your orders in. I think it opens up in October, if I'm not mistaken. But like me and Rubik's told you earlier, get your orders in if you plan to get these cars. Because the one thing that I get a little nervous buying these cars used, because you see how some of them, we see how some people, not everybody takes their cars for oil changes.
Anything over 5,000 miles.
Yeah.
This is just me, y'all. This is me. Any Hellcat over 5,000 miles, Preston will not be buying, period. That's me. As simple as that. Y'all see Instagram. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Just type in Hellcat on Instagram. I will not buy a car over 5,000 miles because of that. And again, that's just me, you know.
Right.
It's relative to your situation. I can buy a new one. I can afford a new one. So I will buy a new one. That's just me.
I just can't.
They're not all like that, but I mean, I don't want to take that risk.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either. But as we're winding down here, what do you see yourself now? Now because this position is for 1 year.
It is.
And we've already 7 months into it.
I think we're right at May, June, July, August, September.
5 months.
5 months. Not even 5 actually.
What do you?
Dang, it seemed like
I thought you. Well, yeah. I mean, you travel. Oh, some of the events that day you've had to experience.
Yep.
Would you have gotten to experience some of these events had you not gotten this position? Because I saw you at the NHRA event.
Oh yeah, NHRA was like completely.
Can you give us an insight? Because I know how I live I don't live far from Charlotte Motor Speedway, ZMAX. Yep. I can hear those cars going down the track from 3+ miles away.
I can feel it.
And you were standing right there. I was like, "What is he doing?" I'm like, I was like, "Don't you got a shield or something?"
ZMAX is 4 wide, right? There's only 2 tracks that's like that. One is ZMAX, and I don't know the other one is, but there's another track that's 4 wide. But going to a track where 2 cars are running compared to 4 is a completely different feeling, because when those 4 cars take off, it's like a shockwave. Like, literally, your shirt flapping. It knocks all the moisture out of your nose, sinuses drain, like literally everything. It's literally like a shockwave. It's like getting punched. That's how it feels.
Wow.
But I think the best experience I've had so far was when I was at Mile High in Colorado. Really? Hanging out with Tony Stewart, hanging out with Matt Hagan, Leah Pruitt, just the Dodge team in general. The mechanics, super cool. That was the most hospitality I've received at any event. And I've actually became friends with some of those people that I was with there that day. You know, being behind the scenes, seeing how they get the cars ready to go run, watching Matt put on his suit, watching Leah, getting her games on.
And she was killing it that day.
Bro,
I think
we before that event where she was in her drag car, we had an event with Dodge where we were driving Chargers and Challengers. We were racing, so I had to race Matt and Leah. I beat Matt. And Matt, listen, we cool, but I beat Matt. And Leah each and every time I raced her had a .02 reaction time. All 2-3 races we did. She got in her car that night and was doing the exact same thing. Leah was tuned in.
I was watching her.
Crazy.
I was watching her reaction time and watching her get off the line, and I'm like, she is the real deal.
She is. Leah was on it. The funnest thing for me.
I think I texted you while you were there.
You did. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just like, yo, she is no joke.
The coolest thing for me, where I had the most fun at, was where I got to walk down in between the cars. Mm-hmm. I got to open I got to do the opening ceremony for the cars as well, and then I got to do a live TV interview with Fox and Joe. So that was super cool for me. And then that was my first TV appearance. And then at Roadkill Nights, I had another TV appearance with Motor Trend. Okay. So I was on Motor Trend. I did a couple things, for them, a couple segments with them. I've done commercials at this point. Like it's pretty cool.
It is.
It is pretty cool.
It is, man. Tell me about demonology. That's
Oh,
my man, because I be hitting up demonology when I got questions.
Yep.
And again, it's I love the fact that the folks that you hang around with are just a lot of them are just like you, down to earth.
I don't hang out with people that's not like.
And demonology is one of the most down to earth people, because I've asked him questions, he hit me right back.
Yep, that's demonology for you though.
And I'm just like, man,
that's
good Lord.
He is a ball of energy, and hanging out with demonology is like hanging out with your brother, because
that's what it feels like.
He's gonna be loud. He's gonna put his arm around you. He's gonna say something off the wall where you look at him and be like, nah, bro, nah. He's gonna say like something car related, and he's gonna try to tell you if you in his car that he gonna gap you. He gonna
put you on the altar. Put you on Mopar's altar.
Yep. And so we joked about that a lot when we was at Roadkill Nights there. But he's a super cool guy. Honestly, and if you have the privilege of meeting him, I would definitely say he's one of the people to meet. And again, like when it comes to people that's similar to me, I don't hang out with negativity.
Right.
And so you would never see somebody that doesn't have my same mindset around me, because I'm here to grow. And the only way to grow is to keep like-minded people who are a step ahead of you that you can learn from.
Exactly. And I think on that note, that's some great advice to close out on, because that's what we're doing. And we walk, like I said, we walk the walk. We live by an example. We don't just tell people what we're going to do. We do it. Yep. And man, I can't thank you enough for coming out here.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Pleasure
was mine. When you told me to come out, I was gonna make it.
I know, but I know how busy you are, and I know you like I said, families first, and I want to be respectful of that in your time, because I know what you're doing is like you said, it's not easy. It's a balancing act.
It is.
And man, we're all proud of you.
Yep, I appreciate that.
Super duper proud of you. What you're doing.
Without God, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's true. God,
without God, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and man, continue doing what you're doing.
Appreciate
it. And hopefully we can have you. We'd like to have you back on the podcast to see, maybe towards the end of the first year, you tell us, how the second part of the year went with being the chief donut maker.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure there's even bigger and better things to come.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.